Welcome to another new episode of the Sports Lounge here on WFRV Plus. I'm Adam Ingles, and with me, as always, my trusted co-host Sean Kornuski. Sean, how are you doing today?
Trusted. I
Yeah,
like
I
that.
guess.
I like trusted. I'm ready to rumble today.
Are you ready to rumble?
I am ready to rumble.
I am
Yeah.
ready to rumble too. We have a great show for you lined up today. We have some members of Under the Lights Entertainment. We have Bruno, JJ, and Silas here in the studio. Thanks, guys, for joining us on the Sports Lounge.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. So let's just get started. Talk about Under the Lights. So how did it start? What's your mission? What makes you different? And just give the people at home a glimpse into what you guys do.
Well, it kind of started. I was in the wrestling business already. I was helping promote shows in the Green Bay area, and I kind of had a different direction of where I wanted to bring the shows. I was always big on doing stuff for the community, whether it be Special Olympics or helping people with cancer, stuff like that. So I just wanted to do more of that and expand off of that and be more than just a wrestling company and add different kinds of entertainment. So decided to go on my own and therefore started up Under the Lights Entertainment.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to a couple of your shows. I've been part of your last show, which was awesome. I got to introduce the ladies match, which I did not complain about whatsoever. But I got a question to ask you about, were you, Bruno, were you a wrestling fan first, or was it more of like a business venture for you?
Oh, I was a wrestling fan ever since I was like 3, 4 years old. I just started, like anybody else that's a wrestling fan, usually was watching cartoons on Saturday morning. Cartoons get done at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and what comes on? Saturday morning superstars or Saturday morning WWF challenge.
Yeah.
And I was just glued to it, seeing wrestlers like Hulk Hogan or Mr. Perfect, Macho Man, Randy Savage. You get the different colors, you get the charisma, the characters, everything like that. You were just drawn into just um the
The
showmanship,
entertainment. Yeah.
just everything about it, the entertainment aspect, everything about it.
Anytime you got pyrotechnics going and people running through the
Yep.
pyrotechnics and you got heavy music playing, I'm with you. I'm with you. Aside from the Saturday morning cartoons and everything, I grew up in the genre where I started watching it with Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. Hogan was still making his good appearances, but what were some of your key wrestlers that you watched kind of growing up?
Well, I remember the first match that really sucked me in as a wrestling fan. It was Saturday night's main event. It was Hulk Hogan and Big Boss Man in a steel
Ooh,
cage,
yeah.
the old big blue steel cage. And just watching that, it was just the story that they took you through. It was the ride, it was the suspense, it was everything about it. It wasn't like, you watch NFL, you watch football game, you watch a baseball game. It was so much more than just rooting for your team. I mean, it was just that ultimate thrill ride that you went through with wrestling. So when you had guys, and it was weird because when I was a kid, I always cheered for, at first, when I didn't really understand it, I just cheered for whoever won. So a lot of times when it was Saturday morning superstars or whatnot, it was guys like Mr. Perfect or Million Dollar Man, Ted
So you were a
DiBiase.
fair weather fan?
It was not really. It was just
Okay, all right, all
I
right.
didn't know any better at first. But then when they went against guys like Hulk Hogan or
Right.
Macho Man,
Yeah,
those guys were my guys.
yeah,
And then Ultimate Warrior came along,
yeah.
and those guys were just above and beyond my favorite kind of guys. And Jake the Snake Roberts,
Yeah.
again, Big Boss Man, guys
Mhm.
like that, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And then you get into Attitude Era with The Rock and Stone Cold
Mhm.
and guys like that. It's, you know, every generation has their favorites, has that you can talk to any wrestling fan. no matter area that you go to, and you can pick out people's favorites and talk to them. And it's fun knowing, getting to know everybody's favorite wrestler and why.
Right.
You can have conversation for hours on that,
Right.
and that's why I love wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm curious about Under the Lights specifically. How many wrestlers do you have on your roster right now? Do they come from all over the U.S.?
We've had wrestlers from all over the U.S. We've had wrestlers from Canada come in. We've had luchadors come in from Mexico. We've had wrestlers from
I almost
all
put
around.
my luchador on today. I got one. Somebody brought me it from Mexico. It's a nice silver one. I couldn't find it. Digging through today.
But we've had wrestlers that have wrestled from all over the world that come in. We've even had wrestlers like Silas Young, like the Native American warrior Tejas, that have come in, that have wrestled all over the world, that have started right here in Wisconsin, that are born and raised here in Wisconsin, that wrestle all over the world. We've had big name wrestlers like Mr. Kennedy, Disco Inferno. We've had, you name it, that have come in from different organizations. Hardcore Holly, that have come here.
He's right from the area. He's from Deep here.
Yeah.
Area.
Well, Hardcore Holly is from, I believe he lives in Iowa now, but but Mr. Kennedy, he's from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
That's the one that I was thinking of. Okay, yeah.
But you get even current stars right now, Joaquin Wilde, that's in WWE. He wrestled for us in O'Connell Falls.
Yeah.
When he was working for or wrestling for TNA Wrestling, we had him wrestling in O'Connell Falls for us at a benefit show.
Nice.
So, and a lot of our wrestling events are benefit shows.
Yeah.
For the most part, whether it's for people that have cancer, we work with the vets, and we've been on the Local 5 Live show a couple times now, where we're doing the Salutes and Slimes events and raising money for the vets and local vet organizations, which mean a lot to us.
What a way to give back to the community. That's awesome. And JJ, I mean, you come in here as the ring announcer, but give me a little bit of a background. Like you've done some MMA fights, boxing matches. You co-host the YouTube talk show called the Bubblegum Sports Show.
Bubblegum Sports.
Okay, all right. How did you first get into announcing? And did it start with MMA, boxing, wrestling, or something else that you did entirely?
Started funny enough when I was younger. I was a wrestling fan when I was younger, and but that's in the 70s and early 80s. I went to one live show when I was 13, 1980, and I followed it a little bit, and then I dropped off. I had no interest in it for the longest time. I host a karaoke show in town, and Bruno and a bunch of wrestlers were showing up every Sunday night, and I big guys. Got to talking to him. Oh, we're wrestlers, and that guy down there is a promoter. Oh, so I started talking to him, got to know him pretty well, and one Friday night, Bruno called me and he says, "Hey, guy was sick, he couldn't make a show. Could I announce for him?" And I mean, that was something I wanted to do ever since I heard Michael Buffer do boxing intros.
Oh yeah.
Let's get ready to rumble. That was,
Yeah.
I mean, that was the coolest thing in the world to me. But I was always like, I would never be able to do that. I couldn't do that. It was something cool. Could never do it.
Yeah.
Bruno talked me into it. Went to a show. I think it was Copperfest was the first show. I did it, and I guess I did pretty well because
up in Marinette. Yeah.
Yeah. So then
nice.
He hooked me up, and I've been doing it since for him. And then that led to other shows, doing MMA shows in Marinette, doing boxing shows for international boxing here in Green Bay and around Kashina and the areas in there.
And then War in the Woods as well.
War in the Woods.
Yeah, I remember that.
Up north, doing the boxing promotions and MMA promotions for War in the Woods up in Marinette.
Very cool.
And it's been fun. I mean, and that was an opportunity I wouldn't have unless Bruno had given me the call, and it's fun. And the first time I did it, and I've really become an independent wrestling fan since then.
I had a good time when I was doing that introduction.
Isn't that
It
fun?
was like, got
Just
that
let it out,
rustic
man. Yeah, just let
vibe
it
come out
out.
of me. Yeah. So we're gonna take a quick break here. We're gonna hear more from JJ, but then we have a special person in in the audience I should say in the room here. Yeah, we'll be right back with more with Under the Lights Entertainment. All right. Welcome back. We are back with Under the Lights Entertainment, talking wrestling today, Adam.
Yeah.
This is great. We've got Silas in the room here too, and we're going to get to him, but we want to talk a little bit more with JJ here about, I want to know a little bit more about the Bubblegum Show. You talked about having that on YouTube. So how did that start, and how does that how does talking sports kind of compare to announcing them?
It's a lot easier to announce
Yeah.
than it is to talk. But we started. I just a couple of guys I work with. We decided, we always sit in the break room and talk sports. Should probably throw it on YouTube. So Dave, who was the main anchor, he had a bubblegum card show where he would open up, he'd do unpacking on baseball cards, football cards, all that stuff. And he kind of turned it into a sports show, and we've ran it for about 8 months. Then we took a little break, ran it for another 6 or 7 months. We're on a little break now, and we'll be back shortly. We're working some stuff out, but we do a show here and there. We did a pregame and early show for a Packer game, but always check out YouTube. We've got some new stuff coming up, so it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot more preparation to do a sports show than it is to do announcing. I mean, announcing, You've got the information, you just go out and just let her rip.
Yeah,
and
Adam was actually kind of wondering a little bit about that too, like what your routine is, right?
Well, usually during, like for announcing, usually Bruno sends me a card early in the week.
Yeah.
And then it changes 150 times up till bell time.
That's Bruno for you. Right? Yeah, that's Bruno.
So I get to the show with my cards pre-printed, and then he goes, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, rip those up. And we start writing again. And usually before the first match is set, I'm ready to go.
Right.
Sometimes we have to work a little bit longer, but it's fun. As right before that, we were still discussing what the order was at that show that you were at, and then we gave you the cards to start off with. So it's a process for sure, and it does take a little bit, but it all pays off. If you ever see one of our shows, that Bruno does, look on YouTube for UTL Wrestling.
So what do you do? Because Silas, you're probably in the back room, and you play the telephone game and just make sure, hey, tell Silas this. No, you tell Silas this. Now he's going to be doing this.
Well, we run back, and my main thing is just to make sure that I announce these guys how they want to be announced.
Sure.
Each one has a little bit different, where they're from and all that. I just want to make sure I get the information, and that doesn't always work right. We had an issue with a match in the last one where I had the cards mixed up, so I'm announcing a match that isn't supposed to take place. I felt like Steve Harvey doing the winner for the Miss America.
Yeah.
And here I'm up there, and all of a sudden these guys, I didn't know anything. I'm reading the card off, and these guys are kind of running around in the back or something. I go back and sit down, and then Bruno messages me, so you skipped the kid? And I'm like, what are you? Oh my God, I skipped the whole match. So it worked out. We flip-flopped things back, but
at least the ladies weren't ready to come out or something like that.
So I mean, it's fun, but it does take a lot. But they make it easier, and it is a great time. It's one of the funnest things I ever get to do. I mean, that's it's not a job at all. I mean, it's something you get to do for fun. At least on my part. These guys do all the work. Mm-hmm. I mean, then that's just crazy, the amount of stuff they go through in a show.
The beatings they take and the beatings they give, right?
Yeah. That's the crazy part. I get to sit back and get a ringside view of all the fun, and step in the ring for a couple of minutes and
the common chiropractor visit after every match, probably.
One more question before we go to break. If you could announce any match, what would be your dream match to announce? Who are your wrestlers that you looked up to that you would have
they're all the wrestlers I looked up to when I was a kid. We're talking way back. We're talking the Crusher. Oh, yeah. We're talking Baron von Raschke.
That's right.
Mad Dog Vachon. George the Animal Steel, I would have loved to do one for him because he was just, just nuts. Those are the guys that I always would like to do because they're just classic.
The
classic
classics. I
wrestlers.
love it. I love
You
it.
know.
All right. Well, we'll go to our next break here. We'll be back. Talk a little more wrestling with the Under the Lights guys. So we'll see you back here on the Sports Lounge.
Because we're going in.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the Sports Lounge. I'm JJ Scott from UTL Professional Wrestling, and with me right now is the one and only two-time World Television Champion from Ring of Honor, Silas Young.
Are you kidding me? Call yourself a professional announcer? What kind of professional announcer doesn't even know how to introduce somebody by the proper title? I am pro wrestling's last real man. And you want to know what's on my mind? What's on my mind is the fact that you guys don't seem to know how to do your homework. You got Sean here sitting in his nice cute little chair, nice little press blouse and his white teeth, his eyebrows that he goes and gets waxed every week. Talking about toughness, talking about sports, talking about wanting to rumble. I gotta be honest with you, Sean. I'm looking at you, and you don't look like a man who's ever been in a rumble in his life.
I've been in a lot of rumbles.
Yeah, you've been in a lot of rumbles. You couldn't rumble your way out of a wet bag. Let's be honest. I didn't come here just to talk sports, because you talk about being tough. You talk about what it takes, blood, sweat, tears, what it takes. And you know what? I don't think you got what it takes. Are you here to talk or are you here to rumble?
I'm here to rumble.
Yeah, you're here to rumble.
Yeah. Anytime. You name it. I'm there.
Yeah, name it.
Oh,
Greg was that. Thank you for getting into character. That was so cool.
Oh, fun. Let's talk about your character a little bit. How much of your character is you, and how much is it a wrestler? Somebody that is just in the ring with that attitude.
I mean, honestly, the character really came from my father. I grew up with 5 older brothers. Kind of some goofballs when they're younger, getting in trouble, and I think by the time I came around, he was kind of a no nonsense type of guy, so to speak. I think when people meet me, they're kind of surprised because I tend to be a little bit more of a more quiet, laid back type of person. I think it really kind of shocks people when they first meet me.
Definitely, I would think so as well. So I want to talk about the show. There's a lot of it's comedy, it's action, it's drama, it's horror. How do you go about the creative development of your character? What goes into it? Are there things that just kind of affect you on a day-to-day basis that you process, you compartmentalize in your head and bring that to the ring?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I've been wrestling for almost 24 years now. And when I first started out, I was a young guy, just a guy who was really athletic, had long hair, Silas Young. After a bunch of years of doing it, I really realized that if you really want to get a job, you want to get out there, you want to get seen, you need to be more than just a great athlete, because the wrestling business is full of great athletes. So I realized I needed to develop some type of character. And at the time when I came up with the last real man thing, it was really around a time when society was starting to change, not necessarily for a good or bad way, but, terms like metrosexual became a thing, guys wearing skinny jeans, guys getting their eyebrows waxed, all those things. They just kind of, reminded you of stuff that maybe our fathers or our grandfathers,
the real alpha males that are our ancestors.
Yeah, I'm just thinking Val Venus right now when you're talking like that.
But yeah, it was one of those things that just kind of felt natural. It felt like a nod to my father, because like I said, he was a no nonsense type of guy. He scared all my friends when we were younger, and it just felt like something that wasn't really being done. So it was something that kind of evolved over time, something I played with and tweaked here and there. But you said there's so many aspects of wrestling, and it's not just the physical stuff in the ring. A lot of it's the character, and that's, you really look at wrestling and you think about the guys who have really been popular over the years. It's because of their characters. Hulk Hogan, larger than life American hero, the Big Boss Man, who is basically like a rogue cop, or guys like Jake the Snake came out with a big python. These guys were characters. They were guys that you could look at and you could say, okay, that's this type of guy. And I think that's what really stands out, because you watch any form of entertainment and characters need something to connect with, and I think that's a huge part of it. And I always say wrestling isn't so much a sport as it is athletic theater.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And you have so many young individuals and older individuals that really look up to you and really kind of resonate with your characters that you portray. I think I've seen it just coming to your shows and seeing everybody's got a little something different for their their characteristics that they deliver. Growing up in Appleton, I know, like, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced kind of starting out in the Midwest wrestling scene and kind of coming into your own and finding yourself to, what, like you said, mimicking what your father really delivered for you?
Right. Yeah. So when I started, my first year in wrestling was in 2002. Nowadays, here in 2025, there's actually a lot of local wrestling all over the country, especially nowadays. But when I first started, there wasn't even enough wrestlers in the state of Wisconsin to run a wrestling show. Nowadays, you could probably run 2 or 3 wrestling shows with just guys from Wisconsin. So I think the big challenge was, networking, getting out, getting bookings. Nowadays you can go online. People have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and it's really easy to get in contact with promoters and companies to try and get booked. But back when I started, I had to hound the people whose shows I'd done to see if I could get a copy of the VHS tape that
Right.
the show was taped on, and then make copies of it and find people's addresses somehow online or through other people. So I think really just the networking was a big part of it. And obviously the wrestling stuff, like the actual in-ring work, that just comes in time. It's like riding a bike. The more you do it, the better you get at it, the more natural it feels. But I think the real big hard part in the beginning was just really getting your name out there.
Sure.
And you mentioned that, you've been wrestling for 24 years, and the impact that you feel in the ring is real. So just kind of talk about what your body has gone through over the past, nearly 25 years, and the things that you have to battle on a daily basis being a professional wrestler.
Yeah, I think there's this misconception out there that wrestling's fake.
Right.
We all know nowadays that it's not real. We're not out there literally trying to beat each other to crap. We're not.
I thought you were. I don't know
maybe,
if it was.
maybe with you, Sean. I
I
just
don't
like your
know if
face,
it was the way you delivered it or the hamburger meat coming out of your shirt that really intimidated me more.
Right,
So.
right. Like I said, it's athletic theater, but at the end of the day, all a ring is steel boards and maybe about that much padding. The first time I went to train, first time you learn to fall or take a bump, you basically get the wind knocked out of you. If you've never done it before and you take a bump, you're gonna get the wind knocked out of you. The ropes on most rings, besides WWE, they have rope, but most rings are just steel cables with basically like garden hose and tape wrapped around it.
I never knew that.
So when you hit those ropes, especially in the beginning, you get huge bruises on your lats and in your hips. But over the years, so in 24 years, I've dislocated my elbow. I've broken my nose a bunch of times. I had a torn ACL. My shoulder's currently messed up. And to be honest with you, in that many years, that's really pretty good, I guess. As weird as that sounds, most people probably go through their whole adult lives not getting hurt at work, which is, normal. But yeah, I mean, it's my body pretty much hurts every day. But you just got to get up, you got to keep moving, and it's what I love to do. So it's just finding the balance of is it worth it?
Yeah.
And
Does the adrenaline still take over when you get in the ring and you kind of don't feel anything when you're in there?
Well, you didn't
Absolutely.
feel that in the room just
I
about
did.
5 minutes ago?
I was frightened.
Yeah, no, definitely. No matter how long I've been doing it, how many matches, how big of a show, how big of a venue, or how small of a show or small of a venue, I still get pumped up for it. If it gets to a point where you're doing something like this and you don't get the adrenaline pumping, you should probably just quit. You know,
Yeah.
it's a big investment, but it's also a big return too on the
So
investment.
with that, what is the biggest reward that you get from putting on your shows and kind of jumping into that alter ego? And is it an emotional release? Is it the physical release? Is it connecting with the fans? What is it about it that's the biggest reward for you?
Yeah, I think it's all of those. You know, it's definitely emotional release. You know, we all have stressors in life, right? We maybe, you know, I don't know, have someone who made you mad while you're driving, or your wife or girlfriend made you mad, or your kids did something stupid, or you know, we all have stresses, right? So that being able to just go into character like that is great to be able to kind of get that out, you know. And I think the same thing applies to the fans. You know, the fans can come there and they can yell at you and call you names, and most people in life, they're not confrontational like that. So I think for the fans it's just as much of a you know, as much as a release, because you know, we all have these stresses, and it you know, if it's me as a performer, it allows me to get that stress out, and as a fan, it allows them to get them stress out, and we're all having a good time with it, you know.
Absolutely.
And I'm usually the bad guy, so I love it when the fans are yelling and calling
Right.
me names. Yeah.
Real quick before we're wrapping up in just a little bit, but one quick question I want from you is you know, what would you say to people that aren't wrestling fans, but you know, they have big dreams? What advice would you give to them?
Go for it. You know, you only have one life, which is such a cliche thing to say, but you know, as you grow up, as you get older, every day, every minute, every week, every month, it goes by quicker and quicker, and life is too short to be miserable. Life's too short to not do the things you want to do. And you know what? If you at the bare minimum go out there and try for it and fail, at least you tried. It's way better than being, you know, 70, 80 years old and going, man, I really wish I would have tried doing that when I was younger.
That's great.
Right.
Great advice.
Right.
Just we're wrapping up here, but I want to give Bruno a chance to kind of promote, you know, where we can find you on socials, any events coming up. Just best way to get a hold of you guys and interact.
You can find us on Facebook. You look up Under the Lights Entertainment. You can also go to our website, utlentertainment.com. We got a bunch of shows coming up. When it comes to our comedy events, we do comedy as well besides the wrestling. We do free movie events, and we're going to have an announcement on those events for our new calendar year coming up. Pretty soon we're going to make that announcement, so make sure to follow us on Facebook, and we'll have those announcements coming up. But we cover all of Northeast Wisconsin, parts of the UP, and if there's any venues out there, any fairs, any casinos, venues, banquet halls, anyone like that would like to have an event, whether it be comedy, whether it be professional wrestling, even comedic hypnotists, any form of entertainment that you'd want to bring in that would be in our realm, don't hesitate. Send us a message on Facebook. There's a contact link on our website as well. Go
Okay.
ahead and send me a message.
Great.
We'll also post
Great.
the links on our socials as well. And I just want to thank you guys
Thank
for
you,
joining
guys.
us today. It's
Yeah.
a great time, fun had by all.
Absolutely.
I'll try to calm down from you know, my anxiety from being threatened by a professional wrestler. So thanks to Under the Lights Entertainment for joining us today. And we'll be back next week with another new episode of the Sports Lounge here on WFRV Plus. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.